Next up this is on Instagram, Rupin_Ido. He says, every time I'm on the kit, I find myself playing the same stuff over and over again. Any advice? Yeah, so I know that feeling. I think everybody knows that feeling. I don't know exactly where this comes from because it doesn't really hold up in the language analogy necessarily. Like I always use the language analogy, like, do we do this in everyday speech? Sometimes, you might have noticed, like, let me give you a funny example. When I was in high school, the word tight was synonymous with the word cool. And we all said that. My entire friends group said it. Everybody said it. And I kind of remember by the time I got to college, I would hear myself saying it, and it felt like I was saying it too much. It felt like a phrase that I had repeated, like, that's tight, this is tight, this would be so tight if we did this. It was like too deep in my vocabulary, and it almost annoyed me that I couldn't help but say it. So I guess it could happen in spoken language. But in drums, in music in general, I think this happens to all instruments, it's way more common. It's way more common that you get a specific riff on guitar or just a lick on the drums or your go-to groove, and you just repeat it to the point where it's just like sickening, like you wish you could play anything else. And I do believe that part of mature musicianship is choosing to not play certain things. It's like an inverted version of self-control. We think of self-control in musicianship as like practicing and being studious and really putting in the time. But also, you could just invert that and say sometimes it's what you don't play. Sometimes it's just choosing to not say that thing that you've said way, way, way too many times and getting things completely out of your vocabulary. So it is a self-control issue. That's for sure. It really, really is. A couple things you can do. One, take that groove or that fill and try to expand it. Make it where the version that you're playing now is actually somewhat boring. So if it's a groove and there's, let's say, 3 or 4 kicks in the groove, see if you can move those kicks somewhere else within the groove, or maybe you can add more. Maybe you can layer in some ghost notes inside of that groove. And what will eventually happen is that as the groove becomes more layered and more busy, you'll hear different elements of it, and what you'll do is transform that groove into something that's very new, and the older basic version is not one that you're going to play anymore. Again, the other thing you can do is just choose to not play that at all. So if the groove, or I'm just using a groove as an example, but if the groove is at a specific tempo, don't play at that tempo for 2 or 3 weeks, right? Like study something totally different. If it's a fill, those get stuck a lot deeper, I think, the fills do. I would say try something like put a lot of time into a brand new rudiment, something to really break up your ears so you're not hearing the same patterns over and over, and to get some new muscle memory in there so you've got something new for your muscle memory and your mind itself to focus on. So kind of distracting yourself from the thing that you're playing. And last one, I think I already mentioned this, but tempo. Get in a totally different tempo range where if you had a 30-second note fill at 60 or 70 BPM that you were just playing all the time because you just learned 30-second notes, try moving up to like 110 or 120 BPM where you really can't play 30-second notes anymore. So that will sort of help limit you on how often you're able to get sucked into that same pattern over and over. But yeah, there's no magic trick here. It's just the self-control thing and a couple of little tips and tricks to maybe get you around, kind of navigate those waters. So yeah, it was a good question, man. Hopefully that makes sense. Thanks for watching this clip from the Orlando Drummer Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are in any way looking to make yourself a better drummer online, which you probably are, it's why you click this video, make sure to click this link up here, wherever it is, orlandodrummer.com. It's an online drum school in the style of Netflix. Trust me, you will find something you like, but don't take my word for it. 7-day free trial at the link in the description. Make sure to sign up for that. See if you like it. We'd love to have you on board. Thanks, guys.